Hello, Thursday. World economic news starting in the United States with real GDP. This is a Lounsbury chart based on Fed data. And real GDP in blue, swooping down and coming back up again, but always below zero. But the reasoning for this chart is estimated without excess transfer payments. So there'd be the normal progression for transfer payments if there hadn't have been a recessionified thing, but obviously it swooped up a great deal more because of the recession. The transfer payments have gone up a lot, and that difference is the extra, or the labeled excess transfer payments here. They have been deducted off the GDP, the real GDP, which now, because this is opening up and up, gives us another 2% off GDP if those excess transfer payments weren't included in the data. In other words, the government spending that extra money is adding 2% to real GDP with those extra transfer payments. Transfer payments aren't included in the GDP number, but obviously when the monies are spent, they are circulating in the economy. Anyway, moving on. Herald Tribune. Michigan town is left pleading for bankruptcy, and I'm not quite up to speed with this because I can't even. This Hamtramck place. Leaders of this city met for more than 7 hours on Saturday, not long ago, searching for something to cut from a budget that's already been cut and overcut. They're desperately wanting to go bankrupt, but they're not being allowed to. I'm trying to get enough information on that so I can say something about it, but it's kind of Michigan's in trouble, isn't it? Basically the whole lot, and obviously there are certain parts that are worse than others. Wall Street Journal gives us, we're over in Europe now, Spanish household power prices to jump. Madrid. The Spanish government's move to raise household electricity prices by 9.8% from January the 1st could stoke inflationary pressures as the higher price pass through households and into the larger economy. That's Wall Street Journal, but quite frankly, that opening statement is a joke, isn't it? Inflationary pressures in Spain? I think not. Bloomberg, Japan, November consumer prices fall for the 21st month as deflation persists. Now that's more like it. Obviously, the opening paragraph is just Japan's consumer prices fell for the 21st month in November. A sign sustained deflation may prompt the central bank to revise its price projections. Why are other countries going to be different from Japan? RTT News. Bolivian transport workers on indefinite strike to protest fuel price hike. Bolivian transport workers have gone on an indefinite strike to protest the recent hike in fuel prices, with costs rising by as much as 70%, 70%, reports said on Monday. The strike has hit normal life, and commuters may be forced to depend on alternate modes of transport provided by the Bolivian army to get to work. Energy is so important. Energy, price, energy, economy. Energy. Reuters gives us India food inflation at 12.1% year on year in December. India's food price index rose 12.13%, while fuel price index climbed 10.74%, December government data showed. Energy price up 10.74%, food price up, problems up. Globe and Mail. So we're in Canada, but we're talking about Pakistan. As Pakistan nears bankruptcy, patience of foreign lenders wears thin. Pakistan's a problem. It's never been very well organized, and they're just hanging on, hoping that Saudi Arabia will bail them out. It's not much money, it's chump change for somebody like Saudi, but Saudi are saying, well, why the bloody hell should we? Actually, what they're saying is, we want stuff from you. and you've got to try and get. But Pakistan can't even give anything to anybody because there's nobody really in proper control. It is what do they call it? Failed state. Certainly a problem. Bloomberg: China cuts first round rare earths export quota by 11%. China cut its rare earths export quota by 11% in the first round of permits for 2011, threatening to worsen global shortage of the minerals needed for smartphones, hybrid cars and guided missiles. And from the article, output of export of rare earths from China have been reduced because some of the companies mining the minerals were causing severe environmental damage and had to be closed, some Chinese chap said. Believe that, we believe anything. Live trading news. French debt reaches 81.5% of GDP in quarter 3. Is nobody not increasing their debt? It also foresees a controlled budget deficit standing at 92 billion euros in year 2011, approximately 6% of GDP, down from this year's 7.7% estimation, and obviously even more, in an effort to approach the European Union's safe line of 3%. That's 60 and 30. They're just not doing it, are they? And do we really think, would you like to put hard money betting that the French will get their financial house in order and really start getting their deficit down? I wouldn't put any of mine on it. The Village magazine gives us still waiting for the truth from the regulator. UniCredit, this is Ireland, UniCredit breached liquidity requirements in 2007. Matthew Elderfield nods. He's the regulator, right? He goes, well, he doesn't, he just goes, I'm going to play golf. And they get on with their stuff. The Interconnectedness of Banking Dysfunctionality by Michael Smith. Anybody Irish interested in what went wrong with the banking system should read that. It's a long and rather complicated article, but what went wrong is long and rather complicated. CNBC: Europe does not need more stress tests, says the CEO of SocGen, Société Générale. And what can you say about it? It's just blather from he comes up with, these are comments from him. I say as a citizen, in other words, not as CEO of SocGen, but in his private capacity, I would effectively recommend more convergence, more coordination for this Eurozone, he said. It would make this Eurozone easier to understand by markets and investors in the US or in Asia. The Eurozone, like it stands, is a bit complex. What's he saying? He's certainly not saying what he said. What he's actually saying is, I hope they get their act together so they can be big and powerful enough that they can bail us out. I mean, the Eurozone, like it stands, is a bit complex, and investors in the US and Asia don't quite understand it. Investors in the US and Asia understand it only too well. Finish with the Telegraph Co. UK, again austerity acts to widen north-south housing divide. The housing markets in the UK, expected to suffer the most from public sector spending cuts, are already under heavy pressure going into 2011, new research shows. Basically saying the further you are from London, the more likely austerity cuts are going to come in and housing prices are going to fall. And that seems perfectly sensible, logical and simple to me. House prices out there have been kept up by government subsidies coming from London. Cut those subsidies down and it'll be like frostbite at the extremities of the United Kingdom, where the living flesh is living at the moment on the blood pump from London is soon going to have its supply cut off, and it will die. And nobody's going to pay to live in a dead area. And then the whole thing moves closer and closer to the centre. inexorably. Bye.